I've spoken in previous videos about team commitment, about building up the commitment of your team. If you haven't seen that, visit my YouTube channel. There's been videos that I've produced over the past couple of years. I think there's up to 50 videos now, so feel free to check that out. But what I wanted to focus on today was another aspect of commitment, because the reality is, believe it or not, it doesn't take much to get employees committed. I mean, if you can get them involved and interested in what's going on and get them to feel like they're contributing and that somebody's listening, you'll slowly get them to commit. Now, that's not everybody. I'm not here to suggest that you'll get 100% of your team committed, but you can get most of them committed. But the question is, are they committed enough? And here's what I mean by that. When you think about what's going on in the workforce today, we've got millennials becoming the dominant workforce. The recent research that I saw said by 2020, there'll be 40% of the North American workforce. And the thing is, if you've done any studies or reading around millennials, you know that they really prefer more of an entrepreneurial venture, a future that's more dynamic. They don't want to go into a job and say, hey, I'll be this public accountant for the next 25 years. Or, hey, put me on that production line and I'll move widgets every day for the next 15 years. They're simply not going to do it. So we need to think about how do we create even greater commitment than we've ever had before. Luckily, you're watching this video and I'm going to share with you a few ideas. And it's not simple, okay? What we need to start to think about is how we change and evolve our organizations. If you've read my book, Operational Empowerment, Collaborate, Innovate, and Engage to Beat the Competition, you know that I talk about how the management hierarchy today that we have really comes from the military. And who wants to work in the military after all? I mean, great organization, but not all that fun to work in sometimes, right? So we need to take that and turn it upside down. We need to put employees at the forefront of the organization, which means reducing the number of managers we have in place, giving them multiple roles to work in, showing employees an opportunity to progress in the company quickly. Let me give an example of that. I worked with a company last year that had created this plan that was working beautifully. Here's what it looked like. Employees that were hired to do typical office type roles, accounting, marketing, sales, finance, first began their venture in the operation itself for between 18 to 24 months. So what that meant is if I'm hired as an accountant, maybe a junior accountant, I'm out of school, you hire me, I now move in and work in the operation as a team leader for 18 to 24 months. I'm on shift, I'm working with long-term employees here, okay? But if I survive, I'll then move into accounting if I want to. Now, this company was pretty smart. They're trying to achieve a couple things. Number one, they noticed they couldn't attract people to work in the operation right out of the gate. So I said, hey, if we create this structure where they have to, maybe some people will want to stick around. And that's actually happening for them. But number two, they're creating people that have a lot more experience and knowledge about how the company works in the front lines, which means they make better decisions when they move into the various roles. Last but not least, they're creating this new dynamic. The people that are in the office, as an example, are much more educated and knowledgeable about how the company operates, what's happening with its employees, how well the equipment works, what the typical throughput is, all the information that's necessary to really be effective in sales, marketing, and finance. It reduces arguments, disputes, and it drastically improves communication. So, that might seem like a pretty big change, but I'll suggest to you it didn't take much more than convincing one another in the company to make the change. This is what we have to be thinking about if we want to create more commitment moving forward. So, think about your organization today. How are you creating an environment that creates more education, more interest, rapid ascension for your employees within the organization? Because that's what it's going to take to not only attract employees, but to keep them around and to keep them committed enough to help you take your business to the next level. If you'd like more information on how this company transformed its business or how I've helped companies transform their business to create the same kind of environment, email me, Shawn@casemoreandco.com, or feel free to leave a comment below.